This is stereo music at its finest. The sound of living stereo from AFVN FM. This is Kelly saying that you're tuned to the easy listening spot on your FM dial. AFVN FM at 99.9 Saigon.
It's 2200 hours exchange of gunfire in Korea.
AFVN News, compiled from commercial and military news agencies.
Good evening, I'm Marine Sergeant Troy Pennington. South Korea reports an exchange of gunfire today between North and South Korean forces on Kudukdo Island, south of the demilitarized zone. The Counter-Espionage Command in Seoul says 2 men were killed on each side. It was the first time this year that a firefight involving North Korean agents was reported in the area 12 miles southwest of Busan. The command also reports that South Korean troops killed another North Korean agent last Wednesday along the DMZ near Hachon. The United Nations command declines to comment on a North Korean broadcast yesterday that U.S. guards in the Korean truce village of Panmunjom recently harassed North Korean guards there. President Nixon told Italian leaders today that the U.S. is committed to a strong presence in the Mediterranean, which he called the southern anchor of NATO. The president met with Italian President Sarragat and Premier Emilio Colombo. Later, he'll have a private audience with Pope Paul. The meeting with Sarragat began hours after cars belonging to U.S. military personnel at 2 Italian bases were set afire. The attacks on the cars followed a night of battles between police and leftist youths. More than 200 persons were taken into custody. Only 12 were held. Mr. Nixon plans later to fly to the U.S. carrier Saratoga for an overnight stay. 28 Americans who had been held captive by Palestinian commandos for 3 weeks left Cyprus today for New York. 4 remained in Cyprus. 6 other hostages still are held in Amman. The diplomatic sources in Lebanon say they've been released and turned over to the Egyptian embassy, which has been acting as a go-between for the International Red Cross. Diplomatic sources say Britain, Switzerland, and West Germany will free 7 commandos they hold, but only after the release of all the airline hostages is confirmed. And sources in Jerusalem say Israel plans to release 12 Arab captives, presumably as part of a deal for the hostages' freedom. American military medical personnel are gathering in Athens for a flight to Amman, where they will aid victims of Jordan's civil war. Some 200 American soldiers and airmen will be involved in the efforts conducted under the auspices of the International Red Cross. U.S. officials in Turkey say 4 American cargo planes took off for Amman today with 40 tons of medical supplies and food, and a convoy carrying war victims is expected to reach the Israeli border today. Israel has offered to treat battle casualties. According to Associated Press, communist forces have shelled Hue and 4 other South Vietnamese towns in efforts to disrupt pacification programs. 11 South Vietnamese died and 40 were wounded. The U.S. command here in Saigon announced the loss of a helicopter over Cambodia. 2 Americans were killed and 2 wounded in that crash. Sources say the copter was on an observation mission. It was the first disclosure that the U.S. is using helicopters to fly reconnaissance missions in Cambodia. That report from Associated Press. Huge fires outside San Diego and Los Angeles are continuing to spread after destroying hundreds of homes and forcing more than 50,000 persons to evacuate. The fires so far have taken 3 lives. Firemen managed to check the western progress of the San Diego area fire last night as winds died down, but the blaze moved southward toward the Mexican border. The San Diego blaze, the biggest in California's history, devastated 150,000 acres. The other fire blackened some 115,000 acres around Los Angeles. Other smaller fires are burning elsewhere in the state. Federal and state officials are assessing damage to prepare for federal aid. Supporters of President Nixon's welfare reform program are expected to make efforts today to line up support in the Senate Finance Committee. AFVN News to this hour.
AFVN News, compiled from commercial and military news agencies.
Believe it or not, summer back home is over, and Christmas is not too far away. Your postal system reminds you that when selecting that gift to send home to your loved ones this holiday season, your package must not exceed 70 pounds and 100 inches in length and girth combined. Remember also that proper packing saves pounds and inches on your item. If in doubt, check first with a postal clerk at your nearest APO before making that purchase. Your mail sent to Konis goes free. All you have to do is write the word free on the corner of the envelope where the stamp usually goes. And your mail going to foreign countries also goes free.
but the procedure is just a little different. The post office stamps the envelope with a special marking, which will be accepted by overseas mail systems. The franking privilege is valid for all personal letters and recording tapes up to 7 inches. Anything else will take a stamp. In this world of rising prices, it sure is nice to know that you can send a letter halfway around the world for nothing.